What's up, everybody? Welcome to the rLounge. Welcome to Drama Island. Married my husband in 2014. A few years later, heard from people that my mother-in-law was telling others, he only married me so I could get a visa. I was legal already. Brother-in-law lived with us for a few months, and it didn't end well because he was not working or going to school, and apparently I never fed him. I had to tell him multiple times to shower. He had fleas in his bed. He would sleep in until 5 p.m., but I was the one who slept in and did nothing. Got sick of enough that I yelled at him, and he tried to get in my face to fight me, so my husband got in between and yelled at him so loud that brother-in-law cried. Later on, we get a call from his parents asking, "What did you do?" Brother-in-law threatened to kill or run away, and it was my fault, according to them. My in-laws drove hours and hours to come get my brother-in-law. I was so glad until a few years later we learned that we had to move to the state and city where my in-laws live. I was not happy, but it had to be done. I tried to fix my relationship with my in-laws and forgive them. It was for a bit, for the most part because I was doing everything they wanted, until I got pregnant a few years after living in their city. My kid is treated differently. I was a horrible new mom who kept my son from them because I told them to get their flu shots, which they said they did, but it found out years later that they didn't. Don't kiss my kid and wash your hands. They blankly disregard our rules and kissed him multiple times when he was a baby. And if I brought it up that they kissed him, I was overreacting, or it didn't happen when I saw it with my own eyes. My mother-in-law talked crap about me to my sister-in-law and brother-in-laws. On the day my kid was born, no one was around. Like, nobody gave a crap. But when anybody else had a kid, it was a big deal. Then COVID hit, and we got more strict about hugs, kisses, and washing hands, etc. My in-laws have never cared about COVID, but again, tried to disregard our wishes of keeping a distant and kissed, etc. So we hardly saw them. My husband and I never wanted to live in my in-laws' city. We had said it from the get-go to all of his family that as soon as we could, we wanted to move. My husband and I had had enough of family drama, BS like every day, and he wasn't happy at his job. Plus, our mental health weren't great and not getting better with everything going on. So, husband decided to look for a new job in the Midwest. He had interviews online at different places, and finally he got an offer close to my mom. He took the offer and started the bling process, but we waited to tell anyone in his family because of the drama it would cause. The guilt-tripping, gaslighting, narcissist BS that would happen. So we started the process of packing, contacting a realtor, and looking at houses in the Midwest. Finally, about a month before we left, my husband told his parents. They were not happy. "You are just leaving because your wife wants to keep our grandkid away." The day before we left, we saw them to say goodbye. This was in 2020, and we were trying to say bye, but with social distance. Father-in-law tried to make my kid get closer and touch his dirty walker. Mother-in-law tried to hug my husband. We had told them before we saw them that we couldn't hug them, especially since we would be driving for many hours to move with a 1.5-year-old. We didn't want to get sick, which my in-laws watch other grandkids who are always effing sick with boogers crusted on their noses. Especially did not want to get COVID. When my husband moved away and told his mom no to the hug, she lost it. We're trying to guilt my husband, saying they were never going to see us again, blah blah blah. Anyways, we moved and are so much happier here. Hardly talking to his parents, which is both of our faults. And then about a year later, in-laws come to visit. Father-in-law is driving an RV. He shouldn't be driving. She never drives because it scares her, but she used to drive and not have a problem with it years ago. Anyways, father-in-law has very little feeling and use of his hands or legs. Also, he has diabetes that they don't take care of. He got a cut, and because of his diabetes, ended up having a big problem. Had this huge hole in his leg. Doctors were involved, told to keep it clean and not to use the leg too much, but decided to take a cross-country trip anyways because it wasn't a big deal anymore. They got here, and drama began again. I was hardly around them because, again, COVID is still a thing. They drove and saw people and didn't wear masks. We hadn't gotten our shots yet. But they saw my kid outside and tried to talk to him. Yet it was like they were talking to a character that they had in their head. They didn't listen to what my kid had to say. They don't know him, nor do they try to know him. They just compare him to his cousin, who is basically a year younger. So the visit ends, and the next day we get a call that his dad is in the hospital because of his cut and sore. Obviously, they weren't taking care of it, and the trip didn't help. He was in the hospital for a few days, and it was bad enough that he couldn't drive the RV back. Everyone in my husband's family assumed my husband should drive them back. My husband did not want to drive him back, but did offer to help in any way he could. They never responded to him, and it was settled that his two brothers would fly in and drive my in-laws back. That did not make my sister-in-laws happy. We assumed that they got together and started talking crap like they always do, and then my husband got a text from my sister-in-law. It said that she was disappointed in him for not helping his dad drive back, that it wasn't the man she knew, that he needed to be a better son. My husband had enough. This sister-in-law has said and done crappy things to us all, and called her out. He contacted his mom asking why they just don't talk to him instead of causing drama and telling people he told her he couldn't drive. We found out his mom was lying and telling the rest of the family that my husband flat out told them no to driving them. In reality, she never asked him. My husband called his mom and basically laid out all his grievances, feelings, thoughts that he had kept inside. He was trying to mend the relationship, trying to stop the surface level BS in order to just keep the drama at bay. And at the end of the call, nothing changed. My husband hurt her heart, but she didn't change. Nothing changed. They didn't get to talk at all because it wasn't the right time with Dad having his health issues and she has a lot to deal with. When they got back to their home, she didn't try to talk again. His dad wouldn't talk to him for months. Holidays come along and it's fake surface BS. But we don't say anything in order to not cause more problems, plus it's exhausting when we do try to and then nothing changes. My kid's birthday is forgotten about, but other grandkids get presents on each other's birthdays. My kid doesn't know his grandparents, and I know I have a part in that. But when I try to text them updates about my kid, all I get is, "Aw, how fun." My kid is half Mexican. He is half of me, and they don't like that. They don't like that my mom talks to him or loves him. They don't like that she gets to see him because she listens to my no kissing and wears a mask when you see him. My father-in-law told me that my kid has his skin color because he gets dark when he is out in the sun a lot. I don't want my son to hate himself, to hate that we are Mexican. I hate seeing my husband hurt because his parents always push him to the side. I mean, this isn't even half of what has happened and being said and done. I'm so tired of this fighting. What do I do? How can I fix this? A first response is from Destiny89 Becomes Me. If you guys go no contact, then you aren't hurting yourselves by watching them dismiss you every day. If these people weren't related to you guys, would you still have a relationship with them? The OP answers, no, we wouldn't. Destiny89 Becomes Me responds back. Then why are these people whose entire job is to love and cherish and nurture your partner, but instead abuse him and his, allowed in your lives? Abusive people are even more offensive when they're your parents. They literally had one job and they failed miserably. Throw the trash in the bin. The OP replies, yeah, I know they failed and there is a huge part of me that wants to be done with them forever, but my husband isn't ready for that. Destiny89 Becomes Me responds one more time. He might not be, but you can be. You can have absolutely nothing to do with them. Maybe the dear husband will end up envious of how happy your life is. He might even jump the fence into no contact himself. Eleanor Mosby has another thought. You're in a situation where your in-laws will only be happy if you do what they want regardless of your own feelings. Should you continue a relationship with them, you need to set limits and boundaries that are healthy for you. This means they will always be unhappy with what you have to offer. I would let go of the fantasy that you can change them or make them happy while respecting your own feelings. The relationship will remain challenging, but that's okay because you need to put yourself first. The OP closes us out. We have tried to put boundaries, but then we are seen as selfish, rude, horrible people. It seems like if we put boundaries on his parents, then we can't have a relationship with any of his siblings. The family is that effed up. They all have a role, and if they step out, then the rest pretty much attack.